why do people not like wisdom? You know, wisdom is being smart. Wisdom, you get everything from wisdom. You know how to make choices from wisdom. You know how to make good choices from wisdom. It's just wisdom is everything. Wisdom is the sweet stuff. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody needs wisdom. Wisdom is from God. I don't know why people don't like wisdom. Why do you think that is?
Well, sometimes is the hardening of heart. You know, they don't want to hear the right choices. Instead, they want to do their own choices and figure out their own path or figure out their own way instead of taking advice from someone that's probably been through it or they already dealt with that situation. So they reject that wisdom and like what, I don't need to hear you. I could do it myself, or I could go test it my own self instead of taking word of someone saying like, hey, be careful with this and that. So I want to say like
Yeah.
sometimes some people don't have the ears to hear or listen to someone speaking some wisdom to them. Instead, they just want to block it off, and it goes to a point where they do like, yeah, I want to listen and tell me your wisdom, and they don't take anything from it.
Yeah,
So
they don't listen. That's pretty much people just don't listen sometimes. I'm Alex and this is Ruben and we are reaching for the Bible. Stupid people don't listen. Fools, it says in the Bible, fools don't listen to instruction, but the wise person like hears their teacher or something like that. I'm
paraphrasing where.
I'm pretty sure it's Proverbs like 1:1 or something. It's real. It's right in the beginning. But wait, do what wise people do and don't do what fools do. Well, there's something in Proverbs. I didn't write where it is, but people just don't listen sometimes because they're prideful or they're stupid or they could just be stupid. It's just people want to know what they know and don't want to hear anything against what they don't.
I mean, I mean, if you say they're dumb, it's like there's a lot of people that just they have the mindset of they want to do it themselves or they want to go through that path themselves. Most of the time, yes, they do it out of stupidity or they do it to where they just don't want to listen to anyone. But sometimes it's more of like, hey, I'm gonna try myself. You're telling me this, but I see it I see it this way, and I'm gonna try it this way. But sometimes, going that way might lead them to a fall. And sometimes it's the best for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the best for them to like, okay, I'm not gonna listen to them, but I'm still gonna do my own thing. And they do that one thing, and then something happens, they mess up, or
They learn from their mistakes.
they learn from their mistakes,
Yeah.
and like, you know
Okay.
what? Actually, I should have listened to such and such because he had told me this, and it could flip. It could really flip because sometimes but that's why I say like you don't have to really say like they're stupid because most of the time it's just like a lot of people, especially today, just like they want to follow their own path, and like
Hmm.
sometimes it's that close understanding of like, listen, like I'm trying to tell you, like I've been through this, I've seen it, I've done it, and sometimes there's a lot of people in the corner, they don't really say it, but they go to where, nah, I don't. It's just like in high school, when
Yeah.
they say don't drink, don't smoke. A lot of people are like, yeah, we're not gonna drink and smoke, but when you get older, when you let that curiosity grow, you're gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna try, and then after you try, you realize, wait, that person
That
was
was stupid.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so
Yeah. There's in Proverbs 1:20 it says, out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. She raises her voice in the public square. On top of the walls, she cries out. At the city gate, she makes her speech. How long will you who are simple love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge? It's saying wisdom's all around you. A lot of people can see this in their own life. Older people always trying to tell them, "Hey, do this. This way's better. I've done that before." Or your parents or a teacher at school, "Hey, this is how you do such and such." And there's always people trying to give you wisdom. There's also your conscience when it's the matter of right and wrong. that one, the conscience is like screaming at you when you're younger and you haven't done, lied before, but then you start lying when your like heart starts beating real fast. That's your conscience yelling at you. Like that's the wisdom inside you. Hey, listen, you shouldn't lie. It's not good. You know, your conscience is screaming at you. So is people around you. So is nowadays. I'm just saying, for the age that we're in, there's YouTube. There's the Bibles. In America we have the freedom of religion. At least now we do, as of now. But it could change. But there's so many ways we can get the knowledge. It's basically wisdom is calling aloud to us, and we just don't hear.
I mean,
fools hate knowledge.
For I mean, yes, when you get older, but for little kids, they seek that through parents. So like, we're going back to what you're saying, like little kid, they're like, their conscience is telling them, oh, lying is bad. Most of their time, they don't know that because they haven't been taught that. They haven't been taught like, hey, you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Once they get that understanding from their parents or whoever's, teaching them, they're like, okay, lying is bad. Oh, fighting is bad. Oh, throwing tantrums is bad.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it kind of correlates to where it's like, okay, now the wisdom could flow in them. Like, no, I remember my parents told me that I shouldn't lie, I shouldn't steal, I shouldn't throw tantrums, I shouldn't do this and this and this. So I feel like they kind of correlate together.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot. Kids are born with a sinful nature.
Yeah.
They got to learn. You know? They don't. They're not. They're born with some things like you shouldn't kill, but that's like when they're raised, they know other people are like, no, you shouldn't kill people, you shouldn't hurt people. By that point, you're like, okay, killing is bad.
It goes to like how you're have been taught while growing up. Obviously, when you get older, now you gotta seek your own wisdom because sometimes, again, your mind is telling you to do other things, and where are you trying? What is your mind saying? What are you allowing to entertain your mind? So you gotta seek that wisdom from somebody. I feel bad for some people that don't have someone they could seek wisdom from.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't have a dad or they just don't have. Moms could get wisdom, but most of the time it's usually the male figures that people seek for wisdom.
For guys like us.
Yeah, for
guys,
usually for
man to man,
guys.
it's usually.
But like if you have a coach or you have a uncle or someone that you could ask for advice for, and they could spread wisdom to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boys and girls can give each other wisdom, or like parents, moms to sons and dads to daughters. But a lot of the time, it's really good for a mom to talk to a daughter and a dad.
Yeah, I was trying to say it like that, but since we were guys, I was like,
it correlates.
Yeah,
that kind of way. But yeah, in places like Nineveh in the Bible, when people were just doing their own thing, or before Noah, people were just doing their own thing. They didn't have any law. They didn't have any wisdom. No one was telling them what to do, that killing was wrong, stealing was wrong, lying was wrong. No one was telling them that. So they didn't really have, what do you call it? Like, they weren't really judged by anyone.
Yeah, what wasn't that around like they were like, okay, so if this person did that, then I could do it, right? It was that like that that time phrase basically. Yeah.
And we're kind of going into that time phrase. People are trying to, make the woke agenda, like being gay and being transgender and being all those things. Now they're starting the pedophile route too, to make it normal. And then once it's normal, people are gonna stop telling. It's gonna pop up like in little sections, but people are gonna stop telling.
They're gonna start classifying as, hey, I'm a 12-year-old girl. I'm a 12-year-old boy, or something like that.
They're gonna stop telling their kids what's right and wrong. But one thing, and that happens with generations, generation to generation. It gets worse and worse, like Sodom and Gomorrah. It got worse and worse and worse to the point God had to destroy it. Same with Nineveh, except they repented when God sent Jonah over there to tell them what's right and wrong. And then the flood killed everybody because they were doing their own thing. And it's going to get to a point now that, the end of the world is going to come unless people start repenting. It's going to get so bad. And it's just going to keep getting worse. The Bible doesn't say everyone's going to become Christian and then, that's the world is going to stay the same for a lot longer. It says the people are going to be doing their sinful things and they're going to love their sinful ways, and, God's going to come back, or Jesus is going to come back, and he's going to take his kingdom back. He's
And,
gonna bring us with him. So.
I'm trying to remember the verse, but there's a verse. I'm gonna be paraphrasing it, but the verse is like, us as Christians, we gotta keep our light open. Keep our lamps open. For
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like keep your
This
lamps
little
on
light
because
of
you don't know
mine.
when the Lord's going to return.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like again,
Oh, the lampstands with
Yeah.
the 10 virgins, and some got the
Yeah,
oil.
yeah,
some
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I
so
got you.
so it kind of correlates with that. And to backtrack to what you had said earlier about the end times, it's to the point where when you start seeing things going on in the world, you got to use that wisdom. Like, is this right? Is this right? Is this idea of classifying as a child or classifying as a man or classifying as a woman, is that really right? And it goes on to even what deeper things. Is it right to kill babies? Is it right to go and just kill a baby because you slipped
No one's
up?
told me otherwise.
Yeah, it's like you got to use that wisdom. You got to use that wisdom. It's like what's right, what's wrong, because sometimes right now the world is promoting the things that are wrong that they're right, and the things that are right they're wrong. It's like
Yeah, there's a quote that I have from a very smart person, is the pastor of my church, but he says, "Ignorance is acceptable. Embraced ignorance is not. That's stupidity." So when you don't know whether to kill, or whether it's right to be changed from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy, or be gay, they've never been told otherwise. That is okay. It's not okay, but it's forgivable by you can't be judged on it because you don't know. But the other thing is, once you hear it one time, you can't play that card anymore. You don't have a pass for that. And in America, with all the people with like Christianity being free and everything, there's nobody that has never heard of it. Well, I don't want to say nobody, but when the older you get, the more chances you've probably heard it before. And once you've heard of it, you don't have that pass anymore. You're liable for your own sins now that you know that you're committing.
Yeah.
It's a different standard. It's stupidity once you understand that, oh, that's wrong, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Okay, now you're stupid. First you were ignorant, but now you're stupid. It's a whole.
At that point, you're just willingly just doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And
yeah, fools hate knowledge, and the wise listen to instruction. Yeah. So step one to getting wisdom, if you want wisdom, what is that?
Getting to start growing in your wisdom and gaining wisdom, you gotta have that fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord, that's the beginning of wisdom. Because now you're relying on the Lord to help you. And in Proverbs 1 through to 5.
1:7.
Oh, so Proverbs 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowing, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So, the fools, they don't want to hear wisdom. They don't want to hear anything about wisdom. They don't want to hear anything about this is right, this and this and this and this. They want to do whatever they want to feel like doing.
Yeah.
And the people that are wise, they're seeking that wisdom. They're seeking the wisdom in the Lord. They have the fear in the Lord in them. Is like, Lord, I wanna be able to know what's right, know what's wrong, and do it by your word.
Yeah. Yeah, not because God's a scary guy, but he's all powerful. So you better fear him anyways.
Yeah.
Whether you're in danger of getting hurt or not. He loves you very much, and he created you. That's why he loves you. But he's still all powerful. So hey, give him his credit.
And he's just.
Yeah. Plus he knows everything. So it's not like you can't do nothing behind his back. He already knows everything. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So the beginning, that's step one. You gotta fear the Lord. So step one to getting wisdom is fearing the Lord. What's step two?
Step two is listening.
Okay.
Listening to whoever is giving you wisdom. And again, sometimes there is some good wisdom. Sometimes there are bad wisdom.
Oh yeah.
And that's where you have to have that discernment. Like, okay, is this wisdom, going to be able to help me grow fruitfully in life, or is it gonna make me stumble? Because sometimes you could come upon a person and they're telling you, you know what, dude, you could go out and sell these fake parking tickets and you could start making a bunch of money, and that's some like that's some bad wisdom. But there's some wisdom is like, you know what, like, bro, I know you want to go to this party, but I want you to make sure that you don't drink. There's going to be a bunch of alcohol in there, and I've been in that situation, and I just want you to let you know, like, it's not what you want. And that's, the difference between good and bad. Well, I would say those are like advices, but you could use those two to have wisdom, like, okay, this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
At one point you're selling these fake parking tickets or fake things, and you're making all this money, but so deep down you're gonna feel like, dang, this is not right.
Yeah, and with listening, you got to know who to trust. So you gotta pick and choose who you're gonna trust. There's some people that give bad wisdom, and there's some people, like the people that egg you on to go to the party. Dude, go to the party, go drink.
Mm-hmm.
Those are usually your peers, the same age as you. Listen, some of your peers are good influences, but some of your peers, I'd say a lot of your peers around high school and middle school, they're bad influences. A lot of them just do things for
it really depends on who you keep in your circle. I would say, because you got the some that are always egging it on, but it's usually that inner circle. Like whatever your inner circle group does, you're gonna like, I can't leave the guys, or I can't leave the I don't know what girls say for their posses, but you can't leave the guys, but you see, because now it goes to peer pressure. They're gonna start roasting you, or they're gonna start saying, "Come on, man, I didn't know you were lame." It's like, well,
you gotta keep the real ones around you.
Yeah.
Show me your friends. Show me, or I'll show you your future.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that saying. That saying is wise. You gotta put yourself around good people. Make friends with good people. Don't make friends with the bad people, even if they're popular. High school, middle school, that's a huge thing. Huge thing with everybody, every generation. It's a lot about popularity and everything. You gotta know what's right. You gotta learn from somebody older, who's been through it. If you want advice, ask someone that's older that you trust. They'll probably, and especially if they've gone through it, like a drug addict. You ask them, "Hey, should I go do drugs?" And they tell you, "No, don't do drugs." You see how my life is going, or something like that, like.
Or even if you're dealing with that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with that same thing, you could get wisdom from someone like, hey, this is how I dealt with it. You got to do this and this and this.
That's
or
true. You
got to go to this certain class and, it helped me break free from this certain addiction. And it's like, that's wisdom going through. It's like, sometimes, but there's also bad wisdom. Like, you know what, bro, just do it one more time. You'll probably be fine. You just need to kill off that buzz,
I'd say with the bad wisdom like that, you could usually tell, like, are you serious? Like, if an older person's telling you to go drink, you're like, really? Why are you telling me to go drink?
But
That's
there are
weird.
some
Why?
there are some people that are like, they won't be able to catch it. They won't be able to catch it, and like, okay. And then they go do it, and then next thing you know, they're in the same boat as that person,
Yeah, no. It's not good. Yeah, you gotta learn, you gotta know who to trust. Now, with that being said, the Bible is always there, and it is always going to be trustworthy. The Bible never changes. It hasn't changed for 2,000 years. It's stayed the same. Of course, people make the argument, but it's not in the original Greek or not in the original Hebrew, yada, yada, yada. Use a concordance. Concordance gives you the word that was in the original Greek, and you could read the words in Hebrew and what they were literally translated to. It's the same thing. They've been translated from the old scripts.
They're just
King
excuses.
James, something different. Yeah, they're all excuses. It doesn't matter how many times it's been translated. It's God's word. God is not going to let you go astray. If you pray to God, He will let you know. Hey, listen, look into this Bible. This is wrong. Something like that. But the Bible is never wrong.
Yeah.
The Bible is God's word. That being said, that is a good thing to listen to. The Bible. It is a very good thing to listen to. What about step 3?
Step 3 gotta be, you probably gotta like understand what you're being told, because maybe you could take that, like someone probably spoke some wisdom to you and you just really didn't understand it and you just left. You didn't even ask them, like, can you clarify on that? Can you dig a little deeper? I think if you get to the point where you want to understand what they're talking about, is like, hey, like what do you mean by this and this? What do you mean, like, I'm trying to find an example and I can't really think of one.
Yeah.
What do you mean if I drink too much, I'm gonna be wobbly and I'm not gonna remember anything? And ask them. They'll probably if they're comfortable, they'll probably go a little deeper and tell you like what happens. And most of the time, speaking from experience, is like you're not gonna remember anything. You're probably gonna black out and you're gonna wake up like, what is going on?
The next morning feel terrible.
Yeah. So like,
Plus, it's addicting, and addicting, like an addiction, is something that you can't experience or you can't know about it until you experienced it.
Yeah.
You felt it.
yeah,
It's not something you can pass down. Like, hey, listen, this drug is addicting. And you're like, okay, whatever, bro. How addicting can it be?
that's where I
That's-
said earlier, is like sometimes you have that mindset that switches over, like, okay, I don't care what Alex says, like, how bad can weed be or how bad can cocaine be, and you want to go try it yourself, and then
You don't listen.
no, there you go. You're on the ropes, and
And then it's their fault because they were told, listen, don't do this thing. This thing is stupid.
it goes
And
to being
here's
hard
why.
headed. It goes to, if you're hard headed and your heart's hardened to not to at least listen and take it in, then you're just gonna do whatever you want.
Yeah. Now, if you're skeptical about someone giving you advice, listen, is this person's advice good or is this person's advice bad? You can always ask them why. And they're either going to have a reason why or no reason why. A lot of times my parents didn't have a reason why. They would tell me something and I'd be like, why do I have to do this? They'd be like, because I said so. There's no reason for it. Like, why?
I mean,
But
I think
now-
you could also add it to where you ask, you could find someone else to clarify, and like this person told me this. Is this like, what's your thoughts and your opinions on it?
Oh yeah, get a second opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's always good too. And about my going back to my parents. Now that I'm older, a lot of the times they would tell me to do something, and I would have to do it just because they said so. And that built, it either built character because I would listen to my parents, and now I listen to instruction and listen to authority better. I'm also a hard worker than like I would have been if I had just sat on the couch all day and they didn't have a reason for me to go do the dishes. Like whatever, they knew, like a father to a son, they know what's best for you and they raised you a certain way because, listen, this is the way either I was raised or this is the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
So do it this way. They're older and more experienced, so a lot of the times older people is the best place to get your wisdom from.
Yeah, they've been, again, like you said, they have experience. They've been through it, so they know the in and ifs. Like this is what happens. This is what happens. Sometimes if they don't know, they'll tell you like, maybe you could seek wisdom from such and such because they've been through it and I haven't, and you could ask that person.
Yeah. I want to go to something more specific. In Proverbs 17:1, it says, "Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting."
Say that one more time.
Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting. We're moving away from like getting wisdom now. This is like a way of thinking. In our lives, we have to make money to support our family, support everything, support a house, all that. And a lot of times we get confused and think money is going to solve all our problems, which it doesn't. People have probably heard that before. Money does not solve all your problems. You can still have family issues and that money won't solve. Stuff like that. And it says, better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. So a dry crust with peace and quiet is like you're broke. You can only eat dry crust. There's nothing. You don't have food. You don't have anything. So what it's saying is it's better to be poor with peace and quiet. Your life is good though. You're poor, but your life is all right. Everything's good. Than have a house full of feasting with strife. Than having a lot of money and a lot of food and everything, but you still have strife. It's one of these visible and invisible things, like the differentiation between something visible and invisible. The invisible thing is how you feel on the inside. Are you peaceful on the inside, or are you always anxious, anxiety, or do you have anxiety, depression, something like that? You're uncomfortable all the time,
Yeah.
and you're not living a good life. It is money can't help that at that point. It's better to be broke, you know, and have peace, than to be rich and feel terrible inside, have strife inside it or in your household.
And I get what you're saying there. But it goes also to, if you're relying on God to guide you and to give you wisdom to use your money wisely, then you'll be able to be prosperous and utilize that money for, for you, for the kingdom. And it wouldn't go down to like strife, because a lot of time people do think like, oh, if I have all this money, all my problems will go away. And most of the time it doesn't, because sometimes they either forget that problem existed, or they never, brought it to the light to even deal with it. So
Yeah, Jesus actually talks about that when he talks about prayer. I think it is when he said to don't go to the court, or if you're in the temple and you're praying and you have a fault with your brother and you haven't forgiven him or said sorry to him and made amends with him, uh, leave your prayer, go make amends with him, then come back. You don't want to be praying to God with, you know, in the back of your head thinking, oh, I still hate this person. Oh, I was never forgiven by this person. So money, if you move away from your house because you hate your parents or something, it's not going to solve the problem. You're still going to have that in the back of your head. Hey, I still have a problem with this guy, or your brothers and sisters. I still have a problem with them. You have to get that situated. It'll give you so much peace when you get that situated. And
it would just
everything's
stay in the
figured
back
out.
of your mind, even to the
Mhm.
point where you probably don't see him after what, 6 7 years, and then you come back, you think everything's gonna be, but that thought, that memory is just gonna just pop in the back of your head, like,
Yeah.
man, I remember this and this, and now you're reliving the whole thing over again, and you're gonna start feeling that emotion again.
Yeah. Yeah, I would find it, but I don't know where it is. So we're going to move on. And in the Bible, there's a lot of different things of wisdom. It tells you how to get wisdom, why people don't have wisdom, why people are stupid, why people are foolish, what fools do, and what wise people do. So it says all that in Proverbs. If you wanna read the Bible and get some wisdom that you're gonna listen to and understand, go read Proverbs in the Bible. But other than that, in Matthew 5, there's also a very good place to. It's like I give you this and you give me that type of deal. It's called the Beatitudes or something like that. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's in Matthew 5, 3 through 10, and then everywhere around that. So like 1 through 11, I think it is, or 12. And I'm just going to read some of it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so if you have poor in spirit, you get, the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Okay? Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. So meek are like humble people. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. So it keeps going. It says, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And it keeps on going, this, and that. So it tells you what you have to do to get A, B, and C. So it just tells you a bunch of things in here, and then right after that, it's a bunch of Jesus' teachings. It says Jesus teaches about salt and light. Jesus teaches about the law. Jesus teaches about anger, about lust, about divorce, about vows, revenge, loving your enemies, giving to the needy. Excuse me. Jesus teaches about prayer. Either way, Jesus teaches about a lot of things. Go look at Matthew 5 through however more. I think it's through 6 and 7, I'm pretty sure. Either way, we don't have enough time to read all of it. Otherwise, I totally would. There's a lot of good knowledge that Jesus was here, gave us, and stuff like that. There's a lot of good wisdom you could find in the Bible. But you just have to find it. You have to look
You got to
for it.
just dig deep. You got to just dig deep in the Bible.
And I'd say number 4, because number 3 was understanding. Number 4 is you got to go seek it. The Bible also says The more you seek, the more you will find.
Yep. Yep.
If you knock, the door will be open to you. All you have to do is look for the knowledge, and God will put it right in your face.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to forsake you. Also, it says in the Bible, I forget where, I really do, but he says, if you ask for wisdom, he won't withhold it from you. Something like that.
Yeah, but
But
I think you
like-
kind of said it.
Yeah, like
so
he's
it's
never going to withhold wisdom from you.
Yeah.
So if you pray and ask for wisdom, it doesn't matter where your heart is at, he will give you wisdom every single time. So every morning, pray for wisdom. Every single morning, because that'll help you choose between right and wrong throughout the day. It'll get you closer to God, choose what you're going to do with your life. It's
simple.
it's simple. It's not even a thought. I don't give it a thought. Just pray for wisdom. God, please give me wisdom. Straight away like that. And that's it. Just pray for wisdom.
And even morning prayer, that's a wise choice to do because you're starting off the day talking to God, starting off the day, Lord, guide
Starting
me
off
throughout
right.
the day, starting
Yeah.
off right.
Yeah. You got to do it with your coffee and your bagel in the morning.
Yeah.
Then you start it off right. Wake up at 5:30 a.m. right before sunrise. You shower and everything before the sun comes up. Go out, sit on the porch with your. Okay. Anyways, there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, and you just got to go look for it, and you will find it. Other than that, Ruben, do you have anything else to add?
Just to be discerned when you're asking for wisdom, because again, like we've been saying, like there is good wisdom and there's bad wisdom, and sometimes a lot of people would give you some false wisdom to think that it is. Sometimes you get to that thought, you think it's good, but in reality, it really wasn't. And I just want to say, just keep your discernment up, so you're able to wisely know this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah. Step 1, fear God. Don't forget that step. That is the beginning.
That is the beginning.
You can't get wisdom without
fear
that.
the Lord.
Yeah, you got to fear the Lord. He is all powerful and we should fear him. But he's also our friend and he loves us.
Mm-hmm.
Do with that with what you will. Number 2 is listen. We got to listen. If we don't listen, there's no possible way we can get smarter. We can try it ourselves and mess up and fail until we get, wherever we're going, but if you listen, you'll get there much faster.
Yeah.
It's just. Number 3 is understand. We got to understand what they're saying. We got to understand.
Take it apart, break it down if you got to, or again,
Ask questions.
Look for a second opinion. Like, hey, somebody told me this. I asked them about this, and they told me this. And like, should I really? You're already using your wisdom when you're already like, should I do it or should I not? And you're looking for different opinions. You're already like, your wisdom is already going to like, okay, I got to make sure if what I'm doing is right and if it's not wrong.
Yeah, you got to get the right answer. It's up to you to get the right answer.
You're already exercising it, utilizing it.
And the right answer will never disagree with the Bible, ever. Just saying. That's a fact. And then number 4 is look for it. Like you said, look for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
When you search, you're going to find it. Like and subscribe, do what you will. But more importantly, go search for wisdom. Ask God for wisdom.
Indeed.
And with that being said, this has been Alex.
I'm Ruben.
And we are reaching for...
If I got it, you got it.